Hello, everyone, and welcome to what is most interesting in FinTech, where we're going to explore the latest trends and insights in the FinTech world. I'm Nadira Sadikova, and today we have a very special guest joining from New York. He's a prominent FinTech founder who's been making waves in the industry. Please welcome George Goognin.
Hi there.
So we're super thrilled to have you, George. Your journey in FinTech is truly inspiring, and I'm excited to dive into your experiences in fundraising, building a successful product, and developing monetization strategies. And let's start with the topic of fundraising first, a crucial element for any startup. George, can you share your initial experiences in raising funds for a FinTech startup, and what were some of the biggest challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, it's kind of fun that we have a lot of experiences in fundraising, and most of those were failures. Because as of now, I can understand that what I was doing wrong, so sorry about that. Living in New York is hard. You have fire departments
Okay.
and hospitals all around. So yeah. Um, so at first, I have been trying to fundraise like in a classical way. So you have a deck which should look fancy.
Now you're
Now
really
you
in New
have,
York, yes.
yeah, you have to have the music like bum 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 bum. Sex in the
Okay.
City series. Okay, so once again, I did it in a bad way because I was focused on fancy decks and trying to like build some huge projections like folks from the TV and media are trying to position it, but it was all nonsense. And I have even at the end of the day, we have set up an investment company, which was a platform focused on small businesses named Karma. And we have raised about $10 million from the public. And it's kind of interesting that it was one of the first European legal security token transition back in the days. That fundraiser was pretty, let's say, random because at the moment we just ride the wave of the industry. It was crypto 2017, and it was a no-brainer to raise funds because a lot of folks raise billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars on just having a deck and a website. But eventually we did, like we built the product. All of our like willing token holders became shareholders, et cetera, et cetera. But at the moment, the only fundraising trick was to ride the wave. And that's it. That was a huge wave. It's like NFTs in 2021, like DeFi in 2020, whatever you name it. Now it's an AI, whatever you name your company, like dot-com bubble. So the first trick is to just ride a huge wave, which is coming into the market. If you don't have any huge waves or you don't have any, let's say, industry expertise in this area, the best thing for fundraising is to have the product market fit. My last two rounds, I have raised them using only like a half pager black and white Google Doc, nothing special. And when someone is asking me like, hey, George, could you please prepare a fancy deck? I say, hey guys, I don't need this. If your investor is trying to look for something fancy, but not like running the numbers, it's nonsense. It's not the best fit for us. So so for the pre-seed round, we have raised like $500,000 back in late 2021 from a small private VC fund, Israeli American one. And the deck was like a half pager in Google Docs. And the only thing that they have invested in was just me. So the pre-seed advice is also pretty obvious. Just build your network over years and be trustworthy. That's
Is
it.
it true that you are saying that now like super designed and fancy pitch decks now in the past, in the history, so you should be focused on like real numbers and figures and product market fit, as you said, right? So
Yeah, so it depends on the round. So for pre-seed rounds, the only focus is the team and the founder because there's nothing to evaluate. There was recently there was a joke, a meme on LinkedIn with the Pulp Fiction, John Travolta and the other guy. they were chatting about, hey, do you know how European investors
Yeah,
evaluate
yeah, yeah,
products? Yeah, like 5 years projections for pre-seed companies. It's all nonsense. So
yeah.
the only thing you gotta have for the pre-seed is a team and the founder and, let's say, founder market fit. So the founder should have like enough experience in their previous life relevant to the industry. That's it. So for seed rounds in Series A, the main thing is product market fit. So how I define product market fit, and I think I have copied it from some Silicon Valley prominent folks, is that you have a line of customers begging you to please grab my money, please deliver your service, even if
Mm-hmm.
your product is super crappy at the moment, like really nuts and bolts, everything manual, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
crappy website, even no website. We still have a kind of text, a black and white website with my picture on it, and that's it. And our licenses. So yeah, so for the seed round, the most important is product market fit.
Yeah, and that's a problem with most of the founders. They really want to perfect their product and everything, and then they're just like spending huge money, time, and everything on it. So, and then that might be like not actual. Like technically, founders should start with what they have, right? So, I mean,
Yeah, so we have spent our first $500,000 pre-seed round on searching for the product market fit. So we did about a dozen of pivots. So initially we have raised funds for tokenizing real estate, then it was tokenized education, et cetera, et cetera. So we pivoted a lot. And I've been like, my major message to the investors was like, hey guys, calm down. There's no fraud. Here's the report. Here's the bank statements, whatever. We spend money only on customer development. So our goal is to find the product market fit stage where customers like really lining up and begging us, please grab our money and do your job. It was a bit frustrating for the investors because they just waited for about like a year and a half. Sorry, it's like a movement sensors here. And yeah, but eventually we did it, and we found the product market fit in cross-border payments because we figure out. So I've been living in Europe and Asia and a lot of countries in the world, and having multi-currency accounts was a no-brainer for me for years. But here in the U.S., you have only dollar kind of
yeah,
accounts, and you don't
yeah.
have euros, you don't have Chinese yuan, whatever. And it's also interesting that in Europe, it's also real hard to open a dollar account, especially if you're a small fintech, small business, etc. No one
Mm-hmm.
wants to mess with other currencies. Same in China and everywhere. So it looks like for larger business transactions, it's real hard to manage multi-currency accounts with like bulk money movement and FX fees and stuff. And especially if you have some crypto component in your business, for example, you receive some funds from your vendor, from your customers, or you pay your vendors in crypto, it adds another layer of complexity on top of that. So we found like super painful niche, and we really had customers lining up, and we grew from zero to $4 million annualized revenue run rate in about a year.
Well, that's like really insightful and pretty amazing. But also, what kind of strategies have you used, like by just, until the time that you secured your first funding? And the second question is, you are living in this vibrant New York now. What kind of advice or recommendation you can give to aspiring founders for those who are looking for money for their
Oh,
projects?
sure. So once again, so at the pre-seed stage, I have just monetized my previous experience. So I just built my trustworthiness over years, and that was it. We recently have raised about $15 million round. I will not disclose the purpose, but it's
Mhm.
also let's say relevant to the cross-border payment industry. And the seed round was raised only based on the product market fit. So it was obvious that we're making money, we're growing, we have customers in line, we have lower churn rate. We churn customers, not they decide to pick another vendor. So that's why our pitch was like a half pager. Hey, here's our numbers. Revenue is growing.
Mm-hmm.
We're profitable. Here's the amount of customers. Here, the usage of funds, and here's the next goal in about a year. That's it.
What was the timeline when you went to the break-even point, like your profitability, like?
So as we discussed, we spent about a year and a half only
Yeah,
burning
okay.
money for customer development and product market fit lookup. But as soon as we found it, we became profitable from the day one.
Well, okay, that's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay. So, and your recommendations for
Yeah. So for
aspiring?
the founder, so you just gotta adjust your position and depending on the stage you're at now. So for example, for the pre-seed stage, you only have the idea, and the only thing you have to manage is to like founder market fit. So if your idea is in fintech, your founding team gotta have a lot of fintech expertise previously in corporations or in your own startups, whatever. Second, at the seed stage and Series A, you have to show traction. You have to show your product market fit. You have lines of customers. You're growing. You're profitable, and that's it. For Series B and above, you gotta have your product, your business model should be so scalable so you can engage tons of salesperson like randomly from the market, train them so they will be able to sell your product at like 100 times more kind of volumes. And so like random salesperson can scale your business to billions. That's the trigger for the Series B. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And regardless of, for sure, New York, for example, is the best place to run fintech companies according to the funding stats and private equity and venture capital here. But if you're, I don't know, in biotech or some kind of different industries, for example, if you're in microchips, probably you have two options: Silicon Valley and Rotterdam in
Mm-hmm.
Netherlands. If you're in biotech, you can also pick New York or Silicon Valley, whatever. So you just gotta find the proper ecosystem for you.
Okay, that's really great. So we have finished the fundraising part, and let's go to the product development. However, you have already covered some topics on this product development, like specifically for your fintech product. Can you kindly tell us the clear message, what kind of problem you are solving in fintech, and who are your, I mean, ideal like customers, like B2B or?
So the issue, like the general issue, is that cross-border payments and cross-currency payments are so untransparent, and banks, especially larger banks like JP Morgan, Citibank, HSBC, they leverage on the information asymmetrical market. And so the first problem is the settlement time. Because first there are different cutoff times in Europe and Hong Kong and in New York. So when Hong Kong is slipping, New York
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
still like getting to the laptops, and Europe is somewhere in the middle. So you gotta manage a lot of different time zones. The settlement is also typically next day or the day after, or there could be some compliance issues down the road. So the settlement times is just random, a few days. Also, the second issue is uh, the time when you fix the exchange rate, because exchange rates fluctuate. If you're typically like sending from a random retail bank like BofA, Chase, Wells Fargo, whatever you have on the street, you will never know. They even show you a disclaimer like, we don't know how much dollars or euros or whatever you will pay, because we don't know when we will fix the rate. Basically, they do know because they have liquidity in other currency made of deposits in another country, but they just trick you. So they also include some more fees, which are hidden because they leverage your uncertainty about the specific moment when they fix the exchange rate. And the third one is the fees. Even Revolut is getting more expensive. So
Yeah.
initially they were
It is.
burning VC money, and the rate was zero. Then it became 0.15, 0.2, 0.3. Now it's 60 bips. So even like today, Avita is cheaper than Revolut. in some corridors, which is pretty amazing because if you consider the size. But I think they have been established like a huge bank. They got the UK license. Congratulations! So they're good guys, but now their goal is to just sustain their huge wealth, not just a super booming growth. It's a different strategy. Yeah, so we solve settlement times, um, certainty about the FX rate and the fees.
And your customer base just mostly businesses, right? Small, medium
So
business.
as of now, as a proof of concept, we only serve businesses, but we have more and more small financial institutions in the pipeline, and we have. So our goal is generally to build a network of financial institutions
Mm-hmm.
with mutual clearing. So it will enable. I will tell you what's the issue now. If you're a small fintech or even a medium-sized fintech in Europe, for example, and you need a dollar correspondent account,
Mm-hmm.
you show up, you knock the doors like Citibank, B of A, Chase, and they just ignore you because you're too small. It doesn't make sense for their managers to even start chatting with you. So that's why they like I know a lot of banks, even banks like real banks, not fintechs, and obviously a lot of EMI, PSP, whatever you name it, in Europe, struggling to have a dollar account, which is crazy. I mean, like Europe is not sanctioned, it's not at war, nothing special is
Mm-hmm.
going on, whatever. Same in the U.S. If an American company wants to open a European IBAN, as you might know, there's a lot of struggles, especially if any like crypto component or cross-border stuff, business, high volumes, tons of red flags, and vice versa. Same in Africa, Latin America, whatever. So our goal is to build a network of those small and medium financial institutions. So they will be able to provide their services mutually and process the flow of the standardized kind of requests on wire
Mm-hmm.
transfers or currency exchanges between each other and clear those counterflows within the network.
And also, I have just researched on with the investment, like your fintech product, regarding the compliance part. So you have embedded just kind of an AI bot who's gonna identify and also make kind of an initial compliance check. Can you kindly comment on this part as well? It's really interesting. So.
Yeah, so compliance is painful because no one pays you for it, but you gotta do the job, and
Yeah.
regulators follow you and track you and stuff. But and the major issue with compliance is that there's such a fragmented kind of industry of sources of what's being sanctioned or prohibited or allowed. You have multiple websites, mostly government based. They don't care about how people will access to that information. They just publish huge documents of, I don't know,
Mhm.
500,000 pages on their websites, and those documents often interlink with each other. In no one, even I bet a lot of government officials themselves can't keep track on what's going on, and it will be hard for them to understand whether a certain transaction is legal or not. And another layer of complexity is that every financial institution in different countries, it has their own AML policies. Someone just copy and paste what's going on
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
regulator advises, but some do some tweaks. So you have a whole lot of room for different creative AML policies. So each bank has its own. So it's getting crazy. So you have to not only follow when you send the cross-border wire, you must consider not only your local, like US, for example, for us, regulation, but also the regulation of the country where you send in the funds to. So we got tired from this pretty quickly, and we decided to hire a bot. We're joking that we have 6 employees and 3 bots in our team. So one of those bots is doing AML and compliance. So we used Relevance AI. They have a lot of LLMs under the hood. So you can choose with Grok,
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT, whatever. And what it does is it tracks government websites on specific sanctions on specific companies,
Wow.
which are in the invoices,
Mm-hmm.
or specific type of HS codes for goods or items being delivered under the invoice. Plus, it tracks on what's that? Panama Papers, some offshore leaks, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
bad news, criminal records. We have connected multiple databases of import and export between different countries to also track some secondary exposure to sanctions, tier two supply chain, things like that. So it really helped us a lot. So we calculated it saved us about 10 to 20 times what time and money. Yeah, but the issue with the AI is it it looks like it behaves like a human. So sometimes it's just lazy. So
Mm-hmm.
we have consulted with a lot of folks from the industry, and they say, yeah, you have to have another manager bot to track whether the
The
execution
other
bot
ones, yeah.
executed
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff properly. Because a lot of folks say, hey, when you talk to the AI, you have to specify a huge prompt like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what they have to do, but it's nonsense. When you specify a huge prompt out of 10 items, it often executes only 5 of them and just stops and thinks like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, guys, I'm done. So
Mm-hmm.
it's also ridiculous. So we used a lot of tricks to like streamline the process and to enforce AI to execute the full prompt. Also, it hallucinates a lot. I don't know why, but God created humans as a copy of themselves, but it looks like humans created an AI as a copy of a human. So it's lazy, hallucinates, and it might like produce some weird outcomes. But nevertheless, no matter what, it's a really like productivity increase.
So technically, you are saying that you have to hire another bot in order to manage other bots.
Yeah, Uberbot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's like, yeah, really okay.
And not a
So,
lot, a
mhm.
lot of it's an industry practice as of now.
So, and but what's your opinion about this buzz going on, like around AI? Just because, like, it might be a kind of another bubble as well. Everyone is investing into AI-related
Um,
products right now, by the way.
you know, Microsoft has been crawling back from the drop from after the dot-com bubble for 16 years. So they recovered their price value for
Mm-hmm.
only in 16 years after the dot-com bubble. But now
Wow.
it's a multi-trillion-dollar company, obviously the
Mm-hmm.
market leader in monopoly, blah blah.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it is a bubble right now in the AI industry, but those companies which will eventually become monopolies, they will be multi-trillion-dollar companies. I don't know what the inflation rates will be down the road, but like obviously trillions of dollars of value. The only thing is you never know who will be the leader, because I don't know. During the dot-com bubble, people thought that Yahoo would be the major search engine, but it's
Mm.
not. And
Yeah.
there were a lot of websites who were fancy back then, but now they're gone. So you never know. And the only thing you know is as an investor, you can just um, be closer to the team to figure out whether they are shareholders and founders, not in the conflict, they're sustainable, their business model is good, they're not a fraud, whatever related. They're not fraudsters, yeah, things like that. So it's a lottery. So I'm not a big fan of giving investment advices. I invest only mostly in my own business and in real estate. I'm pretty conservative here.
Your real estate as well. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like coming back to Evita Investments, so your product, can you kindly tell me what is so like roadmap in the future? So you want to get like kind of like Revolut also maybe to acquire your own banking license in the future, or you want to become just like being as a PayPal. So kind of a
Um,
rendering, yeah, payment services and etc. like
so
cross-border
the
payment services.
some stuff I cannot disclose as of now will be further down the road. But once again, the goal is to build the cross-country, cross-currency network, distributed network of small and medium fintechs, maybe eventually bigger banks, that will have a mutual clearing system that will allow them to automatically process a flow of incoming orders, like, hey, exchange currency from A to
Yeah.
B, wire it to C, with a let's say built-in compliance. So every financial institution will be able to specify their red flags and their risk appetite. So they will be automatically getting only those requests that fit their business model and their risk appetite. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So it's kind of a, you can call it a private blockchain in some sort, because it's not public, because you got to be a financial institution, you
Yeah.
got to pass the KYC and KYB for the onboarding, blah blah blah. But eventually, it's kind of a synchronization of tons of different counterparties, which are typically a bit, it's a dual, complicated relationships in fintech. So at the first time, so first, people in fintech work with each other constantly.
Yeah.
So different corridors, different exchange volumes, different types of payments, whatever. So everyone works with everyone here in this industry. But at the same moment, it's a bit fragmented, that people are trying to shy away from each other and a bit scared of each other as a potential competitor. So we'll try to mediate that and create more of a unified platform for communication between those.
Okay. Yeah, that's like pretty amazing. And the last question that I really want to know regarding your how's a life work balance? How, because I know that payments like fintech cross-border payments business is like super complicated, and all the time just like one bank can block something, lots of questions you have to solve it out. And so how you're like handling it, because like it's really
Uh,
stressful journey actually.
so first, it's very convenient that banks have cutoff times. So
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to
Yeah.
do for us beyond 5 p.m. New York.
Hi.
And that helps a lot with the work-life balance. Plus, banks are closed on weekends, also helps. And yeah, so first we automate a lot. So we have a routing kind of repeating task. We just make a new bot for it, or update the existing one, to offload some jobs, some dumb jobs from the humans. Also, we hire. So our team grew from 0 to 6 people, and 4 of those are in the U.S. and a couple of others are coming to America soon, hopefully. And also, we try to build relationship with customers in a way that there is no urgency. So I don't pick up the phone for, I don't know, a decade. Only for
Mm-hmm.
my wife and kids and mom. And that's
Okay.
it. And we have trained our customers that, hey guys, please, we only work during this kind of working hours, and we deliver our service like at an amazing level of quality. So no complaints, but please do not call us,
Mm-hmm.
and they use the CRM, the chat, and whatever. So it's just about building boundaries. And if you if you're acting like a human, if you're chatting with people like as a human, and you build relationship and you deliver your service pretty good, so no complaints.
Okay, that's really amazing. Thanks for your time. Like, if we're gonna finalize, so you are saying that as like a super prominent fintech founder of Evita Investments, like in we just like rendering services in cross-border payments, you are saying that don't pay attention to the design. If your product is maybe not super like perfect, but you have to start using it and start showing it to your prospective so investors. And so Evita Investment has secured like 500K pre-seed, and from the day one you started making money, and now we have like around up to 10 team members, and also AI bots in the compliance department. And you also secured like congrats on your 15 million US dollars. So yeah, this is like really big milestone for Evite Investments. And yeah, I mean, George, I'm gonna actually observe you. So definitely, because like I'm really inspired by what you are doing. And thank you to our listeners as well for tuning in. What is most interesting in fintech? And please subscribe. And also, you can speak to George as well if you need any recommendations in terms of like product development, fundraising, and if you want to have some coffee to catch up in New York, just write to George.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.